My cute neighbor's daughter thought no man could love her mom again. And she told me so herself, standing on my porch in rain boots with her arms crossed like a tiny bodyguard. You seem nice, she said. But don't get any ideas. Mom's done with men. She was 7 years old and already convinced that her mother, the woman who waved at me every morning, who left cookies on my step, who laughed too loud at her own jokes then apologized for it, was somehow finished, unwanted, too much trouble for anyone to love. But here's what that little girl didn't know. I'd been watching her mom carry groceries and heartbreak up those apartment stairs for 3 months. And I hadn't stepped closer yet for one reason only. I was waiting for the right moment to prove them both wrong. Because her mother, Claire, had a wound I could see but couldn't name yet. A man had made her believe that being a mother made her less desirable, less worthy, a package deal nobody wanted. And her daughter had learned to guard that wound like a soldier who'd seen too much. So what makes a 7-year-old decide love isn't coming back? What did Claire's ex say to her that made even her little girl stop believing? And when I finally stepped closer instead of walking away, would I be the man who proved them wrong, or just another one who left? Her name was Lily, the tiny bodyguard. She stood there in the drizzle, water dripping off her yellow rain boots, waiting to see what I'd do. Most grown men would have laughed. I didn't. That's fair, I said, and crouched down so we were eye to eye. I won't get any ideas. But can I ask you something? She narrowed her eyes, suspicious. Does your mom know you're standing in the rain telling the neighbors to back off? Lily's mouth twitched. She's inside. She's tired. She's always tired now. And there it was, the crack in the armor, the thing a 7-year-old shouldn't have to notice. She said it so plainly, like tiredness was just the weather her mother lived in. I looked up at the second-floor window where a light glowed soft and yellow. Claire's window. 3 months I'd lived below them, and 3 months I'd learned the sound of her footsteps. Slow at night, careful, like she was trying not to wake the whole world with her own weight. You know what? I told Lily. You're a good guard. Your mom's lucky. The girl blinked, thrown off. Nobody had called her good for guarding. They'd called her difficult, cold, a handful. But guards get to rest too. That's a rule. That's not a real rule. It is now. I just made it. A small, unwilling smile. Then footsteps on the stairs behind her, and a voice warm, worried, breaking a little at the edges. Lily? Baby, you're soaked. Claire stopped when she saw me kneeling there. And for 1 second, before she remembered to smile the careful smile, I saw the whole truth of her face. Exhausted, beautiful, and braced, like she was already waiting for me to disappoint her. I'm sorry, she said quickly, reaching for her daughter's hand. She shouldn't be bothering you. But Lily didn't move. She looked up at her mother, then back at me, and something in that little girl's eyes shifted, like a guard deciding, just maybe, whether to lower the gate. She's not bothering me, I said, standing slowly. She's protecting you. That's a full-time job. Claire's careful smile faltered, just for a heartbeat. Like nobody had said something kind to her in a very long time and she'd forgotten how to catch it. If this story is already pulling at something inside you, do me one small favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Because if you don't, this might be the last time you ever see us. The bell is the only way to make sure Claire and Lily's story finds its way back to you. Now let's keep going. She pulled Lily inside that night without another word. But the next morning, I found something on my doorstep. Plate of cookies, slightly burnt at the edges, and a note in careful handwriting. Sorry about the guard duty. She means well. See, I stood there in the cold holding that plate, and I understood something. A woman who apologizes for her child protecting her is a woman who's been taught her family is a burden. Someone had trained her to say sorry for existing. So I didn't rush. I did the thing I knew how to do. I fixed things. Their porch light had been flickering for weeks. I'd seen Claire flinch at the dark stairwell every night. So one afternoon I changed the bulb. Didn't knock. Didn't ask for thanks. Just left it working. The next day their squeaky screen door stopped squeaking. The loose railing got tightened. Small things. Safe things. Things with clear answers. Lily noticed first. She always did. "You keep fixing our stuff," she said one Saturday, appearing beside me like a small ghost while I oiled a hinge. "Why?" "Because broken things bother me," I said. "And because your mom carries too much up those stairs to fight a stuck door too." Lily sat down on the step, suddenly serious in the way only children can be. "My dad used to fix things," she said quietly. "Then he stopped. Then he said Mom made everything too hard. He said we were too much." Her voice didn't crack. That was the worst part. She'd said it so many times in her head it had gone smooth as a river stone. I set down the oil can. "Lily, look at me." She did. "What your dad said, that wasn't true. It was just easier for him to blame you than to be brave." She stared at me for a long moment. Then, in a whisper, "Mom cries when she thinks I'm asleep. She says nobody wants a mom." The words hit me like cold water. 7 years old, and she was carrying her mother's heartbreak like a backpack full of stones. I didn't say that's not true. Cheap comfort would have been an insult to what this kid had survived. Instead I said, "You know what I think? I think your mom is the bravest person on this whole street. And brave people deserve someone who stays." Lily's chin trembled. And behind us, unheard until that moment, the screen door opened. And Claire stood there, one hand pressed to her mouth, having heard every single word. Claire stood frozen in the doorway, and for a second none of us breathed. Then she knelt down and pulled Lily into her arms. Not to comfort the girl, but because she needed something to hold. "Go inside and get your slippers, baby," she whispered. Lily went, but she looked back at me once, and I understood it was permission. Claire straightened. Her eyes were wet, but her voice came out hard. "You shouldn't say things like that to her. She'll start hoping." She wrapped her arms around herself. "Do you know how long it took me to teach her not to hope?" "Yeah," I said quietly. "I heard. That's the part that broke my heart." She flinched. Don't do the kind thing. Kind men leave too. Kind men are just cruel men with better timing." There it was, the wound finally named. Her ex hadn't just walked out. He'd made her believe that being a mother made her less. That loving Lily used up whatever made her worth loving. He taught her that her own daughter was the reason no one would stay. I stepped closer. She didn't move. "Claire," I said, "I know what he made you believe. That you're a package deal nobody wants. That being her mom makes you too much." Her chin trembled. "But I've been watching you carry groceries and grief up those stairs for 3 months, and I never once saw too much. I saw a woman doing the hardest job in the world, alone, and still leaving cookies on a stranger's step." "Don't. I want you," I said. "Not the you before her. Not some easier version. You. Tired you. Burnt cookie you." I took a breath. "And I want her. I'm not scared of the package. The package is the best part." The tears came then, silent, streaming, the kind she'd hidden for years. "You'll leave," she whispered. "Everyone leaves." "I can't promise I'll be perfect," I said. "But I can promise I'll stay. And I can promise I'll never once make that little girl feel like she's the reason someone walked away." And from the top of the stairs, a small voice, "You mean it?" Lily stood there in her slippers, arms no longer crossed. The guard lowering her gate at last. I looked at her. "I mean it. Both of you. All of it." Lily ran down those stairs and crashed into me, and Claire followed, and we stood there in that flickering no more porch light. 3 people learning that some love arrives not as a rescue, but as a decision to stay. Claire didn't become who she was before him. That was never the point. But she laughed louder. She stopped apologizing for it. And one morning I found a new note on my step, in a child's handwriting this time. "Guard duty is over. You're hired. Lily, now let me ask you something, and be honest with your heart." Claire taught her own daughter not to hope, believing she was protecting her from more pain. So tell me in the comments, was she wrong to guard that little girl's heart? Or is teaching a child not to hope the deepest wound a broken love can leave behind? I'll be reading every answer.